There's a version of world history most people grew up hearing, a version where medieval Europe was the center of progress, and Africa was undeveloped, isolated, or primitive. But that version is not true. Before Europe built grand cathedrals, before medieval kingdoms formed, Africa had cities so advanced, so wealthy, and so sophisticated that European visitors wrote about them with shock and disbelief. Today, we uncover 5 ancient African cities that were more advanced than medieval Europe. Cities with complex architecture, universities, libraries, paved streets, clean water systems, and global trade networks. Let's begin. 1. Timbuktu, the city of scholars. Imagine a city in the 1300s and 1400s with 180-plus schools, universities teaching astronomy, mathematics, law, philosophy, tens of thousands of handwritten books. Scholars from across Africa, Arabia, and the Mediterranean. That city was Timbuktu in the Mali Empire. While medieval Europe struggled with warfare, disease, and limited literacy rates, Timbuktu was a global center of learning. The famous Sankara University had lecture halls, libraries, and dormitories, and welcomed students who could study subjects like medicine, geography, trade systems, theology, advanced mathematics. At its peak, Timbuktu held hundreds of thousands of manuscripts, far more than most European cities at the same time. European travelers who visited were stunned. One wrote that books in Timbuktu were worth more than gold. It wasn't just a city. It was one of the world's greatest intellectual capitals. 2. Lalibela, the rock-hewn city. In the highlands of Ethiopia lies a marvel of engineering, a city carved entirely out of solid rock. Lalibela, built in the 12th century, contains 11 interconnected stone churches, each carved downward into the earth from a single piece of volcanic rock. To build even one of these structures today, modern engineers would need advanced cutting tools, machinery, and detailed planning. But the people of medieval Ethiopia carved these churches using only human skill, chisels, and precision engineering. The walls are smooth and symmetrical. The windows and doorways are geometrically perfect, and the underground passages connecting the churches show an understanding of architecture far beyond the era. When Europeans eventually heard of these structures, many refused to believe Africans created them. But archaeology leaves no doubt. Lalibela was an African achievement, one of the world's greatest. While much of medieval Europe was building wooden homes and struggling with sanitation, Lalibela was carving an entire city out of stone. 3. Benin City, the walled metropolis. Benin City, the capital of the Benin Empire, was one of the most advanced cities of the medieval world. When Europeans arrived in the 1400s, they expected to see small villages. Instead, they saw massive city walls stretching thousands of kilometers, paved straight streets laid out with geometric planning, a drainage system superior to many European cities, large-scale residential districts organized by profession and class, skilled bronze casters producing artworks so detailed that modern artists still study their methods. The city walls alone, known as the Walls of Benin, were one of the largest earthworks ever created by humans. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, they may have been the world's largest man-made structure before the modern era. European visitors admitted in their own writings that Benin City was, as large as Lisbon and better organized. In the same period, many European cities were chaotic, poorly planned, and lacked sanitation systems. Benin City proved that medieval Africa was not just advanced, it was architecturally brilliant. For Aksum, the empire of trade and stone monuments, 650–810. Long before medieval Europe developed its major capitals, the African city of Aksum had already become a global trading powerhouse. Located in modern-day Ethiopia and Eritrea, Aksum had its own written language, Ge'ez, the complex currency system, unique places and monumental obelisks, a professional administration, the key trade routes reaching Rome, Persia, India, and Arabia. While much of Europe was using wooden buildings and simple roads, Aksum was constructing towering stone monuments, some over 70 feet tall. Aksum's port city Adulis was so busy that ancient writers described it as a market of nations. This empire was recognized by Rome as one of the four great powers. Alongside Rome, Persia, China, Aksum. Yet today, few people know how advanced it truly was. Aksum's architecture, writing system, and global connections made it one of the world's most sophisticated ancient cities. 5. Great Zimbabwe, the City of Stone. In southern Africa lies the remains of Great Zimbabwe, a massive stone city built between the 11th and 15th centuries. It contains curved stone walls more than 11 meters high, towers constructed without mortar, a royal complex with advanced design, trade artifacts from as far away as China, Persia, and India. The most famous structure, the Great Enclosure, is the largest ancient stone structure in sub-Saharan Africa. Here's the shocking part. European explorers refused to believe Africans built it. They spent decades trying to credit it to other civilizations. But they were wrong. Great Zimbabwe was an African achievement, a city of innovation and global trade. During the same era, many European cities were still using timber, simple stonework, and basic roads. Great Zimbabwe had already developed complex architecture, political institutions, and international commerce. These cities prove one thing: Africa's history is not a story of darkness, isolation, or backwardness. It is a story of brilliance, innovation, and global influence. Timbuktu's libraries, Lalibela's rock-hewn architecture, Benin's urban planning, Aksum's trade empire, Great Zimbabwe's engineering. These were not just advanced African cities. They were world leaders in science, construction, education, and commerce. This is the history they never taught us. And it's time people finally learn it. If you want more powerful African history stories, subscribe and watch the next video.